Okay, if you're here watching this video, you're here for one thing. Welcome to the tutorial of Advanced Logic section. The reason I'm doing this is I haven't seen a tutorial on this yet and I want to document this section. Now I know there's an update to the logic system coming soon and I will be doing another video when that comes out. For now I want to get the advanced logic stuff out of the way. We won't be having a look at the multiplayer minigame stuff, as I do not have anybody to help me record this video, but everything else in this section we will cover. This video is not about the pure section. If you want this, go and watch another video, there are plenty of them. We will be covering some of these to help in our video today. So, straight off bat is variables. These are really simple. You have your variable components right here, and then a set, an increment, and get, all of which at the top of category. They do as they say. Set, row. The name is on the tin. Take this set for example. It's currently set to the number 5. And this variable is outputting on the value to this the 7-segment display no light I found. So yeah, this is just so you can see. Now if we increment it, as shown it's incremented, and because it's gone above the limit of 15, we have to set it back down. Incremental works both ways. Really easy. And the get variable is kind of a memory in a way. Currently it's a 5 because I pressed it and it was a 5 at the time. But if I set this to 1, this is still a 5. If I refresh it, it's a 1. I can see this being useful in some cases where you need to wait before reading, because currently this just outputs the current one all the time. Now there are many different types of variables that we can store, all of which are shown here. So we can store a number in the variable. A number can have any a number can have 6 decimal places at most, and can store use 2 to the power of 63 number maximum, which is like 9.2 quintillion. We just fill this in with all 9s. I need more 9s. Oh, never mind. Okay. So it turns out the number option can store 128 bits worth of numbers. In other words, 3.4 times 10 to the power 38. That's a massive number it can store. Then we have integers, which we can't use decimals, and they can only store 64. Is that 64? 63 bit. Well, it's 64-bit, but the primary bit is used as the sign, so it can store 2 to the power of 63 numbers, aka 9.2 quintillion, or 9.2 times 10 to the power of 15, I think. I'll correct that in post. Then we have a typical, a boolean, a true or false. Really simple, nothing special. Next up is an object. This is useful for players, player characters and things like that. By clicking this button here, I have just stored myself in this variable. Although with player characters it's kind of harder to, well, with objects it's kind of harder to know what's stored currently. Kind of just have to guess and hope if you don't know. And lastly, we have the execution wire, which I'm not fully sure on why you want to store this yet, because it's a two, as we will find out later, it's kind of a do anything. There might be a use of this in a future update, but those are the 5 storage types you can have so far. Now next up, the fun part, teleportation. There are 2 teleportation blocks and an additional end block for destination purposes. In here, I have the entity teleport point, relative teleport, and the teleport. The entity teleport point is just a block, a fancy block with teleport destination. Now any block, even this block here, this random tile, can be a teleport destination, including a spawn pad. Then we have the 2 blocks. We have the teleport entity and relative teleport entity. These act in similar ways but do 2 completely different things. To begin with, the teleport entity. As you can see, there's nothing in here, but it takes in the executable wire, an entity, and the destination. Now earlier, by stepping on here, I have saved my character information in a variable I've got hidden under the ground. As you can see by this blue, this cyan-ish color wire. When I click this button, I get teleported right to this location straight away. Just facing in the direction it's going as well. If we instead use this block, I get teleported over here. So it's a very quick way to get around. So with relative teleport it's a bit different. Let me get rid of these bricks. And we'll use this brick instead. So if a brick needs a teleport destination, and they work better if you don't change rotation. So in this demo, we're going to have this brick be our source brick, and this brick be our destination brick. Now, unlike the teleport the normal teleport where you get sent to the destination, these, trying to get it in frame here, these kind of like work a bit differently, as you can see. By having these face the same direction, which in our case is this way, we're basically moving 1 tile's worth at a time, I think. We somewhat line this up. Oh no, 2 tiles worth at a time. If we use this brick down here, we move at even greater distances. If we rotate the platform, it rotates the direction of teleport. And let me just reset this platform. Things get a bit more complex when you decide to rotate stuff. Okay, so this will be the source wedge, and this will be the destination wedge. Works as expected. But now, if we just rotate it slightly, give it the destination, I've lost track of it, okay. And see, and now this goes on 4 different points. Thing is, because this is forward and then this is right, we teleport in that direction facing that way. So if we were to just hook this back up to my player right here, teleport me, as you can see, I'm facing a different direction every time I teleport, as per what this is saying. If we go even further, we can just flip ourselves around. Well, not exactly, but yeah. And the closer we are to the source and destination, the closer we arrive. So you get teleported based on your relationship, not only to the source and destination, but to the source and destination. So if we move this close to the source, it's not doing anything. But if we move it further away from the source, the jumps are suddenly much bigger. So it's in relation to the source and the angle of the destination. So yeah, relative teleportation is relative and can get a bit confusing if you don't fully understand it. Even this took me a while to fully understand. Teleportation is just simple. Go to the designated spot. Even if it's far away. We send that far away and then relative teleport. It's just go to relative teleport around this whole area. That's it for the teleportation segment. Next up is audio. Only a part of audio is in this category. When we talk about audio, we're mainly also using the audio and the mechanics section, but they all act the same way. We have the simple speakers, a tiny one and a big one. Both of these are set to the fireplace currently. They have many settings which I'm not going to go over here for. Okay, no, I will go over settings. Enabled, simple, just leave the audio track. There's plenty to choose from, like underwater. If you hover over one, you hear. Let me choose a better one. The volume multiplier is the volume, and the pitch is the pitch. You just have to play around with them. The inner radius and the max distance are other things. So if we're close, we hear it a lot. But if we move further away, now we hear it less. If we change this inner radius up, it's loud here, and only when you get out here, like very far out, is it quiet. So that can be used for nice effects, although I think the max distance is a bit small, honestly. I'm not really sure on what the focus angle and stuff is on. Oh, okay. As a guess, actually, we'll do a live test of this. If we have this really slow, really low, and make it like really quiet. As we focused on it, it's loud. But if we look away, it gets quieter. So it depends on if we're looking at it, which I can see being useful for like a trap or something fun. And directional is a fun component. Now if I turn around, it's fully directional. And now if I look this way, it's fainter, quieter, and if I was to look at this, let me just reset these. So it's kind of hard to tell. Let's choose a better track. I don't know if YouTube is picking this up, as I hope it will. But if I look this way, it's coming out of my white ear more. if I turn around, it's coming out of my left ear more. So Breckmill is a really fun setting to mess around with. We also have one-shot audio players, which as soon as they receive an on signal, they play. And the on signal is only on the rising edge of the signal. See, when we turn it off, it doesn't play again. So if anything, you want the short pulse to these one-shot audio players. And there's also play audio at entity, which, as you can see, we have some burn splash effects here. But if we go over here and press this button, it's still really loud. Now if we turn on our speaker from earlier, go over to this corner, it's really quiet. Like this is really loud, like we were there. And of course, entity can be anything, any object, like we previously found out. So that's it for the limited audio capabilities so far. Now we move on. Oh well, we go back. No, we move on to add to location manipulation. Sorry, I forgot the order. And the transformation category. These 4 items. And our friend the frog over in this corner, which you might have well seen. So, to begin with, we have add location. The add location rotation brick right here. You can see currently I've set it up to -2 and 10. So when I press this button, it slowly hops its way over. Now, as a word of warning, Brickadia has the up axis as Z and X and Y being these two axes. So, if you're coming from a different game that uses like Y as vertical instead of Z, just be wary of that. Now, this add location rotation to entity, currently we don't have vectors, and we take in 3 values. So if you want to set these up, you're basically going to, if I just disconnect these, see, this will be Y, let's have this as X, and this as Z. So currently you can only input into the green one, so you have to do them all one at a time. I believe in the next update we get access to vectors, hence we can do these location and rotation directly, but for now we have to do them one at a time. And yeah, I've just dropped it in the floor. So next up we have the set location of entity to this very specific location. Or here, which is why I was not afraid of it dropping into the water. No matter where this, oops, come here. Where did it go? Well, as you can see by the weird amount of wires all over the place, no matter where it is, poof, you can just come right back straight. It can just come straight right back. See? And right back, like nothing happened. It will keep its velocity though, but a later block will cover that. And as you can see by this small circuit I made, the set rotation of entity is slowly rotating this. Now, this circuit works. However, this is just the timer logic. But we're using the increment value from earlier to increment the number stored in this variable by 0.1. And when that gets to 1, we reset it back to 0 in this variable. Because this blend gate from a different category blends between rotations depending on the alpha, which sets our rotation of the entity. Because the blend offers a number, we take it directly into the yaw axis to do this. If we were to instead do pitch, it gets a bit funky. Oh, that's pitch and yaw, that's why. We set this to yaw and teleport it back. Let me just... rotate it. So these gates, sometimes they get stuck when you set using variables. And now nothing's connected at all, so we'll just connect the yaw back into it. As you can see, it's rotating just fine. So, for the set location of entity, if you're wondering how I've got these specific coordinates, then, thanks to Anget Red from a video, which I'll put on screen right now, and in the description, the command get transform will print out your exact coordinates and your rotation, which is key. See, if I look in this corner, with the same command, they're completely different. I look up, completely different once again. Annoyingly, for some weird reason, that command does not show up when you type /help. So it's kind of a hidden command. But it's there nonetheless and can really help you out with that location of entity, whilst we don't have the ability to get the location of entity. We only have set and add. And now we move on once again to a section I probably should have covered earlier with the control flow. There's two blocks here, there's the branch block and the union block. These do basically two different things, but really useful nonetheless. And here's my example using the union block and the branch block. So, as shown earlier, there's the exec which I'm just going to call execute. So, from this message I found in the Discord channel, it's basically a do anything signal. You just do whatever. As you can see, it's why we can just put in a boolean directly to the exe in. It's because it's a do anything. As soon as the WiseNet is detected, it will do whatever. As shown here, I've started the timer because I told it to do anything. So this system here, we first reset this variable to 0, and only after we've done that do we send a signal into here to go on. Now we could do it like this instead, but that means at the same time these will trigger at the same time instead of after each other. This loop is working because it's triggering after each other. Once this has completed, it goes into the next one and so on. It's kind of hard to show this in action when the game is running at perfect 60 TPS. And as far as I know, there's no way to slow down the game to show you this like tick by tick. Kind of just have to take my word that it works. All the system is doing is when either this or this triggers this, we increment the variable by a certain amount, in this case 1, and we continue the loop. And as you've seen there, the loop has ended because this variable has reached our predetermined goal of 100. And the branch, well, the branch was going through the, oops, doesn't allow that. The branch was going through the false output, the false output. This is like an if statement. I'll put on screen right now a typical programming if statement. And this true segment is the if part, and this X segment is the else part, so to speak. And this whole time it's been running the else logic, but because it's now true, it can't do the true logic anymore. I'll come back to this later, because I'll show you how I've made this whole world. Now we go back onto the more fun stuff again. The gravity manipulation. It's really simple. We have this direction, and it does what it says it does. So just stand under this roof for safety and press the button. And look, now I'm on the roof just like that. Now within my predetermined time, I come back down here. Now to have some even more fun, we can try and get onto this wall here, which is just as simple as changing the number. Oh, and we've kind of went a bit past it. Thankfully though, my system just teleported me back, but it saves me from going into oblivion. So yeah, be careful with playing around with gravity, because otherwise you're going to have to build another one of this just to reset your gravity. It can be used for cool things, I hope. The main thing people use it for is like a planet, so to say. It's really useful for planets, but it's a bit annoying to set up because we don't have any way to get like the player position or rotation or whatever yet. So you would have to do it for like every single brick, which bits up. There's a lot to do. We go back to the roof again. It's also very jarring. It's instant transform. When it happens, there's no like smooth transform to it. Yes, I'm running around on the roof just like it's nothing. Alright, now I'm back here. So that's all there is in the gravity section. Kind of hope this gets expanded on in the future, because it's really fun to play around with. And of course, if we run the get transform command from earlier, as you can see, now our wall is 180 compared to our normal ground is 0. If we press and do to turn, our camera direction should be roughly, okay, it's not roughly the same. It's because we're kind of looking elsewhere. It's gravity is really weird to mess around with, yet fun at the same time. And now we move on to the hint section. This kind of falls over under the minigame thing, and you've probably already seen games use this. Just a simple hint. Yes. The thing about some of these is for this buffer seconds to activate. It's weird because though I've sent a do anything command. Oh no, correction. I have a character linked up to both of these, so I just need to hold this down until it triggers further hint. There we go. Because otherwise the character information is lost and this doesn't know what to show to. Now I won't go over the technical part of that. because Agent Red has done a much better video than I will do. I will even give credit to this block in this video on his channel. So here's a video on screen right now, and I will leave a link to that in the description once again. Go check that out if you want to know more. Next up is going to be, both these are in minigame because we kind of have the exclamation mark of minigame. They're all related to this one zone. So we have the zone, the brick change and the brick removed, which have linked up to 2 different audio sounds. We also have the player left zone and the player entered zone. I couldn't think of anything useful to do for player entered zone. Actually, I'm going to cheat a bit and just do a bit of this. Yeah, okay. So currently you see my inventory is a bit of a mess. If I enter the zone, straight away my first item has been cleared. We'll go over that in a bit more detail later, but that's something you can do. You can clear your inventory or have a predetermined loadout. Now this player left, as you can see, I've set it to a teleport entity. So as soon as I leave the zone, I get teleported back here. This could also, if we add a teleport destination, take the teleport destination, plug it into here, create a trap. I am no longer allowed to leave this zone. I have created a prison for myself. The only way I can get out of, even if I fly up, I can't leave. The only way I can get out of this now is by breaking the logic or teleporting myself somewhere else. I'm just going to reset it to teleport back there. It's just really jarring when you teleport, which is annoying. Now we have a brick place. As you can see, very happy sound for placing a brick, which you can totally spam. Placing multiple bricks doesn't trigger it multiple times. And of course, oops, I destroyed the zone. So that's the whole zone segment. Can be really useful for a couple things, like a place where you could only build. I think that's possible. I'm not sure how you would set that up. Or even just like triggering. Now, if you want to trigger something, you're better off. Let me just get out the brick. You're better, if you want the trigger, you're better off just adding a touch and disabling collision. And we'll just, yeah. If you want a zone to trigger and go through, this is your better option because it's easier to set up. But this attached zone can be really useful. And yes, you have a couple of permission here. Building zone lets you build in it. If we disable that. Okay, obviously I can still build in it. And I can't be bothered to set up a minigame right now. Half of these are for minigame sections. If you lose, does it have to be full inside? Oh, a loose zone means just by being on the edge here, even if I just tap it. See, I've gone up a bit. There's a leeway to it, but if we turn this off, there's kind of a leeway to it. I think it works better in a minigame, but giving you some leeway. And share zone seems to be, yes, trust-based. Zone start distance is how far ground it is. As it's kind of hard to show. So as you can see, the areas will be up here now. And the height changes the height. Just be careful though, because as I found while I was making this world, although the height is this large, if I just teleport it, it doesn't spawn back down here like it did earlier. And if I make this zone really, really tall and teleport it, well, it kind of glitches out. I'm pretty sure it's over up there somewhere. I made that zone too tall. Yeah, I'll just have... Oh no, that's just for certain. I'll just have to rescue it later. Moving on. Oh, is that all? Oh yeah, that's everything. Good, sorry about that. Did not realize that was everything. Well, good job, that zone's over up there somewhere. Now, I'll show you how I made this world, as you have probably seen already. It's kind of a waterland area. This nice water place which I've made. So, we have this room where we've been. This floor, which is only where physics objects don't collide with it. So every single platform that we've summoned so far has been spawned down here and just floated up through here. If I just reset, as you can see, it floats up because of buoyancy from the water. This is an abuse of that character inventory entry. This is once again a prefab I found. I'll put codes to all of these prefabs or share code in the description. But all I have to do is hold. And now my inventory is good as clear, because I've gone through and changed all of these to being cleared. You could do this with a slot, because a slot is a number. You can do it with this, but I found that can be unreliable sometimes, and it's just way easier to get a machine like this to do it for you. So this is logic for this whole place. We give it a reset. We have a variable here which stores the integer of the platform we're on. Overbuilt this, but doesn't matter. When we click this button, you might be able to see, but this red wire crossing this grey wire is slowly moving positions. That's because all of these all of these equal gates are set up to be one more than the previous. And the button press goes into this logic gate, which goes into this increment variable. There are 2 ticks after we have incremented it, just to make sure it's saved. And for this to update, we send a signal into all of these AND gates, and down here, we'll come back here later, to basically say to these set variable gates to set the object. Because this variable stores our platform information. Keep the platform down here for now. And we do this by all of these set variable gates. And the reason we do this is at the end here, after we've set the variables using all of these unions, just because we need it for any of these one set. After a very short 3-tick delay, the union function to let me press buttons to debug, we teleport the entity to the given location. The other way we could have done this was by having like a teleport per entity. But in our case, when we have like 10 entities we need to teleport, that would be 20 bricks compared to our current alternative of 11. And it's less wiring to do, so in a way this is cleaner. We have a set velocity for entity which just makes it 0, just to help it out a bit. Because teleportation kind of keeps your velocity, as we saw earlier. But with that, teleport. Now this delay is required because, as shown here, there's another teleport destination, and as you can see down in this mess, this is kind of a graveyard of platforms. Just needed to get them out of way, so down here is the best location for them. Now this gets triggered on the same tick, all of these AND gates get triggered. Now this is important because for some reason this happens. Oh no. So when setting the variables it takes like a tick to process. I'm not sure for the actual delay. But because of that we can use the entity currently stored and teleport it out of the way before we store the variable of a new entity. Hence how we just teleport them over here like it's nothing. Now finally the entity itself has some logic. Of course we have a classic read brick grid, which is going into each of these variables. But we also have a green node here and a red node. This is because, well, these need to sink down, and as these are really lightweight, we have, as you've obviously seen, these weight blocks on the corner. So, with a couple of more variable setting logic, another branch, and the get variable, we just set the weight of these weights to a high number. So when we trigger the red logic, we go straight to this variable to set them to 2000 kilograms, which is a really high number. And on the other hand, we set them to 0 when we need it to float. Now this is a union going directly into the get variable, because get variable then goes into each of weights, only after it's been stored in here. This kind of forces it to stay the same, although we don't technically need the get variable straight away. We can just bypass the get variable. It's kind of useful in a way, because it means if for example this is set really heavy and we unfreeze this, it's not updated straight away. We'll just shove that down in the void. Also want to say thanks to the frog over in this corner here. This is just invisible. This just has a visibility check, and the frog just has an just some more checks on top of it. This is the teleport entity, so we can teleport back to its block right here. Then we have the equal and read brick grid just so we can talk with it. So yeah, thanks to Frog over there and this button, which has 3 buttons in 1 button. This is obviously the next button. And you have the reset button and the respawn button in case something broke, like the platform still over up there. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that back. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to get back. And finally, there's one button on the wall for the help with the music segment, which just has enough for equals and not logic for the visibility. And with that, there ends this very long video. I honestly did not expect this to be this long, but thank you for watching anyway. And expect more Brickadia content in the future.